Welcome to the Keith and Ron Waples Tribute. We are honored to have the opportunity to pay tribute to these first cousins whose contributions to the sport of harness racing in Canada and beyond deserve our recognition and respect.
My dad started working for Keith, so we were around Keith, me and Ronnie Jr., from the time we were young. You know, he was a man of few words, no matter with what, but he was always friendly, and he always kind of had a little bit of a chuckle on his face. I can just remember him, he was always going 100 miles an hour everywhere he went. You know, it just seemed like, you know, he was walking fast, and he was always busy in that. But watching him on the track and, you know, hearing the people that I look up to in this business, whether it be my father or Doug Brown or Steve Condren or so many of them, you know, and then you hear these great drivers talk about Keith, about how great he was. It just makes me wish that I was there, right there from the start, you know, because he even just catching him on at the end of his career while he was still driving and that, he was just an amazing guy to line up behind the gate with. And, you know, I just want to say, Keith, you know, nobody deserves it more than you. You know, everybody in this business looks up to you, and you deserve what you got. And I know you're kind of a shy guy and you're not much for the praise, but I got a feeling by the end of the night you might be blushing.
Very few individuals, regardless of their profession, have earned the right to be called a legend. Keith Waples is one of the few. His prowess in the sulky was admired and imitated by fellow drivers from around the world. They all learned from the Thin Man, and every one of them would be quick to give him credit, lauded Murray Brown. The full statistics for Keith Waples' career will never be known. He was winning races long before they were recorded for posterity. Born in 1923, he remembers jogging horses at the family farm in Victoria Harbour at 4. He won his first race at 13, and many more before they began keeping track in 1948. Keith's accomplishments as a horseman were varied and memorable. In 1959, he steered Mighty Dudley to the first 2-minute mile ever recorded in Canada. In 1962, he won the prestigious Roosevelt International with Ty Silk in front of a crowd of more than 53,000.
On the inside, Sue McLeod and Ty Silk on the outside. Head and head, nose to nose, right down on the wire. Look at it, Ty Silk, the winner of the greatest.
In 1972, John Hayes Sr., who memorably said, "I'd rather win the jug than go to heaven," asked Waples to guide Strikeout in the Little Brown Jug. They won the first heat in 1:56 and 3, the fastest mile ever on a half-mile track, and came back to easily capture the final heat, becoming the first Canadian-owned jug winner. Other memorable performers for Waples include Silver Almahurst, a horse he called the best pacer he ever drove, Bardo Hanover, and her sons Albert Starr and General Starr, Woodlawn Drummond, Blaze Pick, Zip Tar, Rob Ron Robbie, Rob Ron Terrios, Duke of Decatur, Right Tie, Choir Boy, Wizard Almahurst, Hi Richard, Ben Boy, and the list goes on. He is a member of the Hall of Fame in both Canada and the US, was named Canada's Horseman of the Year in 1962, and established records throughout North America, both in terms of speed and as a trainer and driver. A measure of Keith Waples' impact on the sport and his continued relevance to it was his being named the greatest Canadian horseperson in a wide-ranging poll conducted by the Canadian Sportsman in 2005. Keith Waples was a rare horseman who also excelled in racetrack management. He was actively involved in establishing 3 Canadian racetracks: Orangeville Raceway in Ontario, Cloverdale Raceway, and Sandown Park in British Columbia. In addition to being called Dad by his 3 daughters, Barb, Donna, and Karen, and son Gord, with wife Eileen, and grandfather of 19, including 9 great-grandchildren, Keith had a few nicknames: the Master, the Thin Man, and the Quiet One.
I was fortunate enough to work for Keith Waples when I was still a teenager for one summer, for about 3-4 months. So I really got to watch the Master at work close up. His driving career was winding down at that point, and I wasn't around in the business when he was at his heyday, but the stats speak for itself.
He was never a big talker, but when he did speak, it was worth listening to. For instance, on driving in the OSS at 71. They don't take any pity on the old guys. On training while also managing racetracks. I figured a long time ago I'd never make a living with my head, so all that was left was my hands. You can't make money sitting on your hands unless you're a hell of a lot smarter than I ever was. On the state of his stable, I was never known for having the prettiest barn at the track, but it was always respectable. The horses were taken care of, and that's what mattered. Keith Waples continues at age 90 to remain involved in the sport as the co-owner of Jug Starter and Ontario Sire Stakes Super Final winner, 3 of Clubs.
It's 3 of Clubs, and what a dazzling effort here for 3 of Clubs as he goes down the road. 3 of Clubs to win by 2 lengths.
It boils down to one very simple thing he told Jim Proudfoot several years ago. A fellow has to have a reason, horses that need feeding, for example, to get out of bed in the morning.
Coming along in harness racing, Ron Waples was probably an icon when I was coming up. I used to watch him at the old Greenwood Raceway and then Mohawk when I was starting out, and I really idolized the way he drove horses, the way he conducted himself, the way he interacted with people, and just overall great person. Congratulations, Ronnie, on a great career, and thank you for being a leadership in our sport for years.
One of the brightest and most revered personalities in harness racing, Ron Waples has left few stones unturned in his illustrious career. A cultivator of larger-than-life success, his repertoire of horsemanship has landed him global respect and top honors across North America. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in Canada in 1986 and the U.S. Hall of Fame in 1993, and upon the Little Brown Jug Wall of Fame in 2006. Waples spent his formative years as a groom for his cousin, Hall of Famer Keith Waples. When he landed on my door that day, I didn't know what to think, Keith remembered. He was always clever and a quick learner. In 1971, Ron went out on his own. His first win came at Sunnydale Raceway in North Bay with Ferndale Prince. That foundation paved the way for driving earnings in excess of $75 million and nearly 7,000 career victories. Considered one of the greatest clutch drivers in the history of the sport, Waples possesses an uncanny ability to read the field and make the optimum move in the heat of the moment.
Sugarcane Hanover has won it.
I got a story about Ronnie Waples here. We're racing at the Meadowlands. I've been racing with him for years. And the guy's, a very great driver that, one of the best I've seen around. And coming through the stretch, I tried to squeeze up the inside of him, and he looked over, pulled his left line, he hooked my wheel, he beat me by a nose, and I just said something to him after, like, a little tight, wasn't it, boy? He goes, I had a win, buddy, boy. He says, I seen you coming there. I might be getting old, but I'm not that old. I can still see.
These legendary tactics and stunning displays of split-second success are at the core of the Waples phenomenon. Waples' major stakes wins include the Little Brown Jug, the Hambletonian, Cane, Messenger, 9 Breeders' Crowns, Meadowlands Pace, Maple Leaf Trot, Kentucky Futurity, Jugette, Hambletonian Oaks, Woodrow Wilson, Canadian Pacing Derby, Prix d'Été, and the North America Cup.
Presidential Ball wins Cup 10 for Ron Waples.
He is forever connected to horses the likes of Ralph Hanover, No Sex Please, Armbro Dallas, Presidential Ball, Dreammaker, Village Jiffy, Sugarcane Hanover, Park Avenue Joe, Fake Left, Sportsmaster, Oakley Count, Delphi Lobel, and most recently, J.M. Van Gogh. He's a luminary who excelled at all aspects of the sport, in all racing styles, over all configurations, for the better part of 4 decades. Among his many accomplishments, at the height of his success in 1984, Ron recorded over 300 wins for the 8th year in a row, while his seasonal earnings topped $2 million for the 5th consecutive year.
I used to sit on the backstretch at Greenwood Raceway and just watch races all night long and watch Ronnie just do his thing and outdrive everybody, win all the races he wanted to. And then when I got my driver's license, I was unfortunate enough to get lessons learned by Ronnie on the racetrack, but I learned from him too and watched him for many years, and he was one of the best of all time. I can honestly say that.
In addition to this resume of driving and training excellence, Waples has also contributed his time, passion, and expertise as the co-owner of both a sales company and a trade show. He's been a TV commentator and the invited author of a chapter in the newest edition of the Sports Bible, Care and Training of the Trotter and Pacer. Waples has been a major promoter of the sport in both high-level and grassroots capacities, a major advocate for the hands-on horses approach to marketing horse racing to a new demographic. The Guelph, Ontario horseman has been active in dozens of promotional initiatives over the past 2 decades. Dubbed the Canadian Comet by famous track announcer Jack E. Lee, Ron Waples has been a racing icon for the bulk of his incredible career. His passion and skill has manifested in his sons, trainer Ron Jr., driver Randy, and award-winning equine photographer Matthew. Revered for his charming candor and dry wit, Waples described his career eloquently when he said, "I'm making a living at something I love. You're only one win away from happiness at all times."
I'd like to say thank you to everybody to come out tonight and support such a great cause. I mean, what a fantastic family and what a tragedy, you know, that what happened. But we're all here for the Austins tonight, and keep your chin up, girls. I love yous all. It's just been a complete honor to have the last name as what these two fine gentlemen have. And best of luck to the pair of them, whatever their future plans are. Best of luck to the Austins. And again, thank you very much for being here tonight. Racing industry makes me proud.